Making it very simple, a very complex issue, making it very, very simple. The thing about bipolar. I was married to a woman for 12 years who was analyzed with bipolar. And I've noticed in a lot of people these two sides come up. I see that within myself, very much so. That one side where I can be ecstatic and on top of the world, I'm an extremely friendly and charming and lovable person. But then when something happens that, well, changes that, and the other side comes out. The negative side, or that inner beast, that anger and negativity and becoming very mean-spirited. I notice that within me when something rubs me the wrong way. I need to balance those sides, because I don't want to be, depending on, again, what's happening to me, and then either I feel good and I'm happy, or I feel down. But that's basically it, these two poles. It reminds me of that story about the Indian chief who was telling his grandchildren the story about the battle that's taking place in him. And that's the battle between the two wolves. And the one wolf is the wolf that represents love and delight and kindness and generosity and appreciation and all of these good elements, good human elements, positive elements. And the other wolf represents the fear and the darkness and the suffering and the greed and the anger and the violence. And the answer to the question, this is most important and most interesting I've come to find, is when the children, his grandchildren, look at him and they ask, which wolf wins? He says, the one you feed. It's very, very difficult, and I'm sure there are a lot out there, a lot of people who are struggling with this. Sometimes I get the sense that when my negativity is stimulated, it stays, it lingers. I just want to stay like this. And I have so much anger then also that I project towards my son when something he's been living with me since the beginning of the year. He's 19 years young. There are a lot of issues that come up, and he has a lot of expectations of me, and I have a lot of expectations of him. And very, very similar ways like it was during the marriage to his mom. When these expectations are not met, it gets very nasty. The blame game starts, the bitching game starts, the back and forth, and I find myself in a position where I just don't want to give in. I don't even want to smile anymore. It's a long thing I've been carrying around with me. The thing about Christoph getting pissed off. When Christoph's getting pissed off, it's not very pretty. Also then I've learned during my own experiences in life how I have a tendency, or the ability, or whatever you want to call that, to piss other people off. I can also make other people feel very, very good and inspire them. But then I also can make them feel very, very bad. And that's just something that I've noticed that I really want to, address. I need to address, because it's been going on for a long time. And this really has been taking my passion from me, my desire to do something positive in the world, to really help people. I know that I have developed that ability to do that. It's actually very easy for me, very, very easy. To make friends, it's very, very easy. Make money, it doesn't take much. It takes the passion, which is exactly that. I kind of lost a little bit of that. The desire to move forward, to take that extra step, that second step, which is the actualization, the doing it. They're not just talking about it. And it's really interesting for me to find, after I watch all of these videos that I've made, or at least not all of them, because there are more than 1,500 videos on YouTube, which is insane. The message basically repeats itself. But what's interesting to me is really that all the things I am talking about, they're not so much really, even though I make it about that, lecturing others and telling other people that's the way of trying to teach people. But mainly it's about me, it applies to me. There's something that I need to learn. It's something that I need to do. Because ultimately it's all about myself. It's not about other people out there and how I think they should be living their life, or the idea of the desire to change the world outside of me, to make this world a better place. Which only can really happen if I make myself a happier person. And yes, I can easily get into that mode. I can be a very happy person. Or rather, it's just a matter of acting happy. It's like that title that somebody said, hey, you should call yourself the now guy. And when I use the camera, I go to events, and I'm like, I'm there in the now, and I can be very fun in that space, in that moment of now. But then after I go home, but yeah, that's it. There's, the happiness I keep to myself, or my thoughts I keep to myself. I keep myself to myself. Because of all that stuff, all of my experiences, all of my feelings, all of my emotions, all of my thoughts, I keep to myself. This is what I've done my entire life. I kept myself to myself. So now I'm at the point at 46 years of age, I need to really figure out what to do. How can I go beyond that? And how do I start to really become part of the reality around me, instead of just being within myself, just talking? Which I know that's how it comes across many times. My tone sounds like as if I'm talking at people, I'm talking down to people. I sound like I'm better. There's a sense of arrogance that comes across. And as I've noticed that, I find that this is not really me. I'm not this teacher, preacher guy who's telling people how to be and then getting really upset and angry and really pissed off when I don't get what I want. Because in this I make it all about myself. And if that's, since that is the case, how can there be space for anybody else if I make it all about myself? And I really don't know, why am I telling you this? It's just, I'm sharing this. Maybe some other people can relate to that, and maybe somebody who watches this has an idea about, hey, why don't you start there? Even though, there are lots of ideas, like meditation, going into nature, exercise, all of these things that we need to help for me to be better to myself. A better diet, of course. But there's a part in me that's like, it's almost like I've given up. I don't even want it anymore. And I just keep all my joy and my passion, my desire and my love, as well as all of my pain and my suffering and my sorrow, I keep it to myself. I don't share it. And that's really what I need to do. And YouTube has been an outlet for me somehow. Also Paltalk has been an outlet for me, which it's interesting. It's an online chat community where I had a room for about 6 months in 2006. But it's an experiment that really backfired in a terrible way, where eventually people became alienated and they left because they didn't get it, and they thought Christoph was all about himself and all this Christoph talking down to people and talking at me, and Christoph got no sense of humor, and Christoph was only serious. But yeah, what can I say? This is me. This is where I'm at right now. And I don't want to go into the teaching, preaching again about realize to actualize, but this is exactly what it is. My nature. Recognize that in yourself, your nature. That's where it begins. But yeah, I've recognized that. I've realized myself a long time ago. But I've been stuck. I've been stuck for a very long time. Even to a point where I don't take any action. Where even when people approach me, when people say nice things to me, I even reject that. When women approach me, I freeze up. People give me compliments. People say they want to help me with even the project of Realize to Actualize, or help me in my career, and ask me what different projects I'm involved in. And I don't do anything. I don't speak. I don't communicate. I don't connect. I stay within myself. And how can I get out of that? I don't know. Where can I begin? How can I begin? YouTube, with all these videos I have a lot of friends. Didn't really talk to anybody. Don't really know where to start. Facebook, I also have a lot of friends, and I see all the posts of people, and beautiful, wonderful people, especially here in California, and now with Burning Man coming up. And there's so much passion, so much creativity here. Yeah, people having fun, you know. And I always admired that. It's like, I don't even know how to, when I know how to have fun, but yeah, sometimes I don't even want to smile. I just become this very serious, somehow bitter person. And again, I realize it's not me. That's really the whole point of what I'm talking about here is also in terms of the teaching aspect of Realize to Actualize. How can I be known by somebody else? How can somebody know me for who I really am? Not how I come across. Not like this, yeah, I can be fun at times and smiling at times and easy to get along with and very easy to love. But then I also can be very difficult and very, well, mean-spirited somehow, very angry. There are all these different sides, you know. I mean, the way I see it, it's not just, I'm not just bipolar, I'm multipolar, I'm 7 billion polar. That makes me laugh a little bit talking about that. You know, it's not really a laughing matter because I feel really bad still. And to the point, like yesterday I was watching this video about Michael Jackson and the true message behind his work and his music and the music industry. And how much he was very much a humanitarian and he loved everyone. And he felt like all the children of the world, they are his children. Just somehow I always had that feeling myself growing up. I remember the few kids who knew me that in school actually called me father, because I already had this parental attitude. But then also I already felt very, very bad of how people are acting and using each other and abusing each other. And one of the things I've come to find is that I am just another you and you're just another me. We're all versions, different versions of each other. We're all extensions and reflections of each other. Even as a child, I already developed an ability to see myself in others. I always ask myself my entire life, how would it be to be somebody else? It was greatly, it began when I was started watching movies. And of course there everything is about the main character. And I always ask myself, how would it be if I would be that main character? If I would be in their shoes, living their life, going through their experiences. And basically I've come to that conclusion and I would be doing exactly the same thing. I would be the same person basically. If I would have their experience. Now there is a little story that illustrates that. And I still have that feeling that is lingering on that. Anyway, when I was a kid in Germany, I went to school in the morning. I left my parents' house. And there was this little dog that came running to me every morning when I was closing the door and closed the gate to the house. And I was walking to school. He came running up to me and he jumped on my leg and he humped my leg. Every morning that happened for I don't know how long. It doesn't really matter, but it was somewhat, I made light of that. I told that story for the first time maybe years ago and I was just remembering that actually for the first time. And it was like, oh, it's a funny story somehow. But then I also realized the profound implications of that. Because this is how I look at people. If you're nice to them, if you smile, if you make them feel good, they're like this dog. They hump your leg. They want more. And to me, it is somehow sickening. I want to be honest here. It is somehow very superficial. Because it's all a matter of, yeah, make people feel good, give them what they want, and they give you whatever you want from them. And it's just like this in this world. Everybody wants something. Without really knowing one another. And that's, I think, the main point here I'm making this Realize to Actualize about life is learning. It's about through learning, through this kind of learning, we get to know one another. And only if we really get to know one another can we help one another. Can we really love each other? How can I love you if I don't really know you? Oh yeah, you might look nice, you know, and you might make me feel good, but I don't really know you. But it's just that image I have. If it's favorable, hey, that's good enough for me. But also the reality is that relationships, they come and they go. People fall in love, they fall out of love. They first feel wonderful about somebody, and then they start hating on somebody because this other person did something that they could not accept. But there's no understanding. There's no like, okay, this is your reality, and love And then I am willing to step into your world, and I'm not going to leave you because something rubs me in the wrong way. It's very conditional, very fleeting, very temporary. And I always thought that love is a power. It doesn't stop when something doesn't go your way. If there's something somebody says or does that you don't like, and then the love turns into hate. That cannot be love. And that is really something that I'm looking for. But at the same time, it's not just something I'm looking for, because the only way I can find that, I can receive this love, is if I give this love. I know that. But again, I'm just sharing a little bit about my own struggles here that make it very difficult for me to just be loved and to live my life, to get my life together basically, which has been broken. It has been broken after my marriage, which again, my son is living with me now, and my daughter. He has a twin sister who also came visiting me, and I talk to her sometimes on Skype. She's in LA. My other daughter also lives here in Vallejo as well, and I have a grandson who's beautiful. I love him. But with my children, there's a lot of anger and a lot of things where I'm looking at them and I see the behavior of my wife at the time, of their mother. How sometimes they can act very, very mean and very disrespectful, and they argue with me, and they argue with me. And this is just like the worst. I hate it more than anything in the world, these arguments. But the interesting thing is, and a lot of people have pointed that out, there's some truth to that too. They're like, Christoph, it seems like you like to argue. In all honesty, I know that I get a certain charge out of that. And then my inner, that wolf comes out, that negative wolf, that fear-based wolf, you know, that darkness comes out, or my inner Hitler, and I get all this anger and all this negative energy comes out, and but it really comes out because that was like this during my marriage where the worst came out. And really, I've never talked about that. Rarely I've talked about that. But it was a terror, it was a nightmare. Because that was when, in the mid-90s, when I was living in Kansas and I just got married and I became part of a whole new family. And I was living with this woman, I was married to this woman who I didn't know how to deal with. And she was out of control and she was all about herself. And she was like, now that you're married, you're my husband, and so I own you. Which to me, being a lifelong free spirit, was totally against my nature. And so I was fighting with her, I was arguing with her, my buttons were pushed in the worst possible way, my inner demons came out, I didn't control myself, I saw red, and so even in front of my children, the worst behavior came out between their parents. And that went on for more than 12 years, so that's a long time. And it was also in that very significance, and this was the first relationship I ever had with a woman. I was married a virgin. And yeah, even though this marriage is over since 2004, and now being 2003 actually. Now it's being 2012, a lot of time has passed. But there's still, the memory still lingers on. And there's still things I carry around with me that come up when something rubs me the wrong way. When Christoph gets pissed off. And I always say, and I am a very easygoing person, as a matter of fact. It doesn't take much to make me happy. And I really have that need to be happy. I have that need to be loved. I have that need to be paid attention to. I want to be just clear there and very, very honest. I also think that it shouldn't be, oh, Christoph, you have all these needs, you know, and it's very, very weird, and normally people don't have those needs. Everybody has a need to be paid attention to. Everybody has a need to be loved, to be respected. It's just I'm speaking for myself, of course, how that is. And from this, I also draw conclusions to others. Of course, it's a very dangerous thing because everybody has a different reality and a different way of being and different needs and different requirements, different paths, different experiences, different triggers. But still, and I know I'm making this very, very general, but still, you can see that these things that are, these dynamics that are going on within myself, that are taking place. In a way, they take place in every human being. And to say it the other way around too, what's going on in another human being is also going on in me. So through all of this, I have learned, I've gained this awareness. And like I started off this video by saying that I've gained the ability actually very early in my life to see myself in other people. To know that you are just another version of me. And I am just another version of you. Actually, I am you and you are me. I've become very self-transparent there, kind of like see-through. But then at the same time, it's also not that true, because there's a part that I'm hiding. The part that I'm not revealing. Where I've created this persona of teacher and practicing philosopher, teacher of learning, and how the tone in most all of my videos, if you have seen any of the videos, you know what I'm talking about, that has become me, or rather the role I have created for myself. Beyond the role is the real Christoph. He's a little boy who is still trying to shed the feeling of being violated by this little dog who's been humping my leg. And because of this, I feel like people are like this. People are humping my leg. And because of this, I do not give love. And because of this, I feel not being part. I almost feel like I don't want to be part of that, because everybody wants something. And how obvious that is. And there's nothing really wrong with that per se. For me, it's a little bit, I don't know, it has created a lot of problems. A lot of problems. And these problems I've been carrying around for a long time. I haven't really addressed them. I haven't talked about them. Because all I'm doing is I'm making these videos. And yeah, I notice that also every time I make a video, I just look at how many people are watching it. To me, this is like a sense of importance, or to feel important, or to feel that people see like, wow, Christoph, what you're doing is great. And the funny thing is though, like yesterday on Pal Talk I was again, and I get a lot of that from people, a lot of positive attention where people validate me actually, they do that. Actually to a point there was a woman, a younger girl, was in the chat room, in the 20s or something like that. And she was all, felt all excited about me just talking. And there again comes that image of that humping dog. I'm like, you don't really know me. And I just wish people would make a little bit of the effort to get to know me. Instead of like, well, Christoph's a nice guy, let's just hang out. With me, it's not that easy. Simple things like small talk is difficult for me. I can talk to you for hours about the parallel between the account of creation and the account of evolution and human history and the story of human history and the lessons not learned and to be learned and the parallel to humanity, how we have evolved and how we individually have evolved and what we need to learn. I can talk about this for hours. I can lecture about this for hours. But talking in a normal way, having some fun, just doing fun stuff, it's more difficult. Every time I do that and I do it with somebody, I meet somebody to like try to hang out, I feel like I make it all about me and this alienates the other person. And I'm just really tired of that. Anyway, I rambled on for long enough, it's just like, fuck. That part of me that's gotta go. The negative part of me, that angry part of me, that just like not taking any action and just like, why should I do anything for the world? Why should I do anything for other people? Because nobody has really done anything for me. Which is not true. A lot of people have helped me, or at least they've tried to help me along the way. But it's like it was never enough. I always needed more. But I always had that need for people to help me, to show me that they are a friend. And once they show me that they are a friend by doing whatever it is they're doing for me, they're doing something for me. And then when they're doing something for me, then I feel like they're a friend, and then I'm willing to do something for them. And I know how that sounds. I feel embarrassed about that. But it's true, it's real. And that's what the whole point is of Realize to Actualize. So